Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday evening. It's just a little after 8 o'clock. I'm doing this Facebook Live a little early because I stayed up here for my dinner break and I've been eating all day. So I really didn't even eat any dinner. But hey, I want to dive into the feast of weather that we're about to see. We're going to see a whole bunch of stuff. If you've got some comments and you got some questions, let us know what's going on. So we got a lot to talk about. I mean, as you can see, fog, rain, severe storms, winter weather potential. Oh my, it's like lions, tigers, bears. Oh my, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And so maybe you're watching this as a replay, but this is what we've got here as we take a look at, first of all, a dense fog advisory that's been issued. And it's been issued early. Awesome, because it's going to be very foggy tonight. In fact, we didn't have any sunshine or very little. We had a little bit, but not enough to dry out the saturated ground. So now we've got fog that's going to be developing. Did you see the rainbow this morning? I don't know if you got to catch it. I know Josh Rugger, you're on here, and you're going to be going to bed here pretty soon because you're going to be doing the weather forecast for tomorrow on KNWA Today and Fox 24 News at 7. But now you look at this, you see this time lapse. There's like, if you're a betting man, you're like, there is no way. I bet you any amount of money there will not be a rainbow on Thursday morning. But you can't say never say never to the weather. Check this out on a time lapse. Ready? In about 5-10 seconds, there's the sunshine. There's the rainbow. Love a rainbow time lapse too, by the way. You can see how the angle's getting a little bit lower. It didn't last very long. Then the clouds roll out. And there's a look at that. Well, you already showed you the dense fog advisory, but let's show you this picture. Pretty awesome photo from Mitchell Meyer on Twitter at hey_Mitch91. Pretty awesome stuff. All right. Well, we've got a lot to talk about. First of all, the fog tonight, the rain tomorrow, which is going to be tomorrow evening, and of course, the severe weather risk. And we're going to dive into that, but let's take a look, first of all, at the timing of all this. It was a fantastic picture. So here's a look at the 2-day forecast timing. Temperatures are probably going to get into the mid to upper 50s. Now, Josh had this 20%. I did not remove it because I think there will be a little bit of mist and drizzle because of this fog in the morning. While it's not technically rainfall, it will be kind of providing some soggy conditions on your car and your car windshield as the temperature matches the dew point. As we move into Saturday, those rain chances bump up. You can see that climb and moisture. And I got to remove that for 46. The model kind of took over on that. And you can see mid 50s by Saturday afternoon. So the rain chances will definitely be bumping up and then dropping off, but we're going up to 90%. The only reason I didn't do 100% is because I didn't know the exact timing of that rain, but probably on the 7-day forecast, I actually did go up to 100%. But it's a little uncertain as to what's going on with that system. So, all right, let's show you the time lapse. First of all, not a time lapse, but a future track in advance of the fog that's going to develop. Now, a front comes through it and tries to drop the dew points and drops the temperatures, but they're actually going to match the dew points. So we're going to see patchy fog. You can see some spots with red shades, meaning use caution. There's going to be some issues, and it burns off by Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon looks good if you got any outdoor chores. I think the HRRR is a little cool, but there will be a boundary moving through. And then you see Friday night into Saturday morning, here comes the system that's rolling through. There's the rain that's going to be very widespread. Does it rain for the Christmas parade Saturday night? I don't think so. I think the rain moves out, but if the Christmas parade was in the River Valley Saturday night instead of the Bentonville Christmas parade, there would, in fact, be an issue with that, perhaps keeping some rain in the area. So that's the system that comes in, which, by the way, is very important to our severe weather potential as we move into our Monday and Tuesday. And the reason for that is how much of that moisture clears out behind the front, behind the boundary. Some of the models say it does. Other models says it doesn't as much. It's going to be something that we watch. If you look at these rain totals, this is from Saturday's system, and we've got more on the way. Okay, let's dive into this risk now. And we talk about what's happening for next week, Monday into Tuesday. Obviously, still a lot of uncertainty. The uncertainty is how much fuel is there going to be, how much moisture, how much instability. The timing of this, we're still trying to wonder what's the timing of this storm system. You're going to notice all hazards are going to be possible. What do we mean by hazards? Well, the Storm Prediction Center classifies 3 categories for hazards: damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. When we say all hazards, we're also including flooding as well. There will be some localized flooding. But when the Storm Prediction Center calls for all hazards possible, it's essentially severe thunderstorms with tornadoes, as well as hail and damaging winds. Those are your 3 hazards. And those are all hazards. Also, of course, all severe storms have a lot of lightning. Well, most of them at least. Okay, so now when we zoom out here, this is the day 6 convective outlook. Now, word of caution, you see that orange shaded area and you're like, we're not in the orange shaded area. We don't have to worry because we're not getting the worst. Well, you know what? They didn't have us in the worst for the Storm Prediction Center's risk on March 30th, the tornado that went through an EF3 that went through Springdale. So tornadoes, severe storms, they don't follow these boundaries. This is our thinking looking at the models on what we can expect, but the models don't exactly follow where this is at. And it's going to be updated. We're on the day 6. Now, I want to provide some information here on the day 6 that I think needs to be full screen. A day 6 convective outlook with 30%. That tells the National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center that they are extremely confident that there's going to be an outlined area for severe weather potential. Now, if you're wondering how rare a 30% day 6 is, it's only been issued 4 other times besides this morning in the entirety of the day 4 through 8 outlooks, which started in 2014. So 8 years ago, 365 days, all the severe weather setups, all the storm chases, and all the chase mode that people have been on, it's only happened 4 other times. Now, even more incredible is that those 4 other times were in April and May. One was in early May, the rest were in mid to late April. The month of April. So extremely rare for the Storm Prediction Center to issue 6 days out a 30% outlook. And you might be going, okay, well, the Storm Prediction Center issues a 6-day 30%, meaning probability outlook, which is, by the way, really high for this time of the year. And you're going, well, how well, hold on just a second. Wonder why you're on, I got to log you out, Ruggs. You're on my Twitter profile here. So sign in. Hopefully this remembers the password. Yep, it did. Okay. Stand by here. I'm going to show you basically an outline of what is going on here? Oh, crap. Log out. What? Hold on just a second. Might have gotten hacked. Let's see. Reload. Yep. Nope. Hold on. This is weird. It's a different account. Log out. Log out. Great. Yeah. Well, that's lovely. So now I can't get onto Twitter for some reason. I don't know what happened. Log in. No. Next. Log in. Okay. Just a little FYI, Ruggs, when you're logging in on Twitter, do it on your profile because it knocks me off of my profile. So, all right, back to this. Sorry, that was really weird, very strange. So here's a day 3 convective outlook. Yeah, Josh is on my Google account, and then he logs in and out on his Twitter. So no worries, but there's a Twitter profile that I try to log in on called Scoff Dan. And so anyways, let's get back to this. Day 6 convective outlooks. that have a 30%. How well did the Storm Prediction Center do? Well, let's take a look at that here. So we're going to bring up four risks, and we're going to add this to the stream. So this is, first of all, the first day 6, and this is the actual day that it verified. So 6 days before this severe weather event, they had a 30% outlook for severe weather potential. And you can see that they pretty much handled that pretty well. This was on April 10th of 2015. The next one, which impacted us quite a bit, I remember this because there was early morning QLCS tornadoes left and right on this storm. This was April 27th of 2016. I would say that verified, and they also did an amazing job with where the outlook is. Notice how severe reports don't follow the lines. There's a tornado outside of the marginal risk. So you can't just look at those lines. The next one, this was a 30% on the day 6 issued out in advance for April 29th, 2017. That had severe weather over us. And then finally, May 3rd, 2018, lots of storms, severe weather, another 30% day 6 outlook issued for this event. So I would say it's safe to say that the Weather Service out of the Storm Prediction Center, the NWS Storm Prediction Center, absolutely crushed those risks. So that's what you're looking at in terms of all that, that 30%. There's a good probability that this will be a significant severe weather event. Does that make sense to everyone? I hope it does. Now let's take a look at the different computer models, and let's dive into that as we take a look at a model comparing. And I set this up ahead of time because I wanted to show you why would they issue a 6-day 30% outlook for probability, because the models are in pretty good agreement. So what you're going to see is, first of all, the European model. There's the rain coming in tomorrow. There's the rain coming in tomorrow. So notice we're going back and forth. So the European, the GFS, European GFS, pretty similar on the same time. European GFS, European GFS, pretty similar. A little bit of lingering rain in the morning. European doesn't have that. Now let's go to Monday. Monday, 6 p.m. Pretty similar. European has a little more precipitation out ahead of it. And you can see that the storm system, it actually has the same strength of a high. Tuesday morning, a 997 low by the European and a 996. So very similar in location and position, along with precipitation. Now, one model is a little bit greater of a resolution, which is why you see when you look at the rain contours, the precipitation contours, they're a little bit less definition. And so here is the noon time frame. Okay, this is noon on Tuesday. The European, a lot of storms. The GFS, very similar position with the low, as well as very similar with the precipitation. Now, Tuesday evening, the system looks like it's slowing down a little bit. But remember, this is a good reminder for you that are studying meteorology or that are wanting to look at computer models, and you might not realize this. This is not a representation of exactly where the precipitation is at this time. This is a representation of a 6-hour rain total ending at 6 p.m., which means the thunderstorms are happening before 6 p.m. A lot of people misinterpret that on the computer models. This is not what it looks like with a composite reflectivity. This is, in fact, showing the 6-hour precipitation total ending at 6 p.m. So going back to our models here, very similar, 6 p.m., 6 p.m. I would say those models are pretty much on point. And then notice how this energy starts to shift east. Wednesday, 6 a.m., 6 p.m. Look at, by the way, the snow. This is a comma head cloud. I'm telling you, folks, this is a big, big, big system. So we've got some comments on here, and I wanted to bring this up. What an odd time of the year for this, or maybe I just don't remember previous Decembers having severe weather. Well, Chris, December 10th into the 11th of last year, was in fact the Mayfield, Kentucky EF4 tornado, and one of the longer track tornadoes in history. It nearly was a quad state tornado, but lifted before it got into western Tennessee. And then it touched down again, obviously, in Tennessee. But watch for the sneaky low in northeastern Oklahoma. Yep. And here's the thing that's going to be interesting, Cameron, is that how does the instability handle with the model? So let's show you the vorticity. So here we go. We're going to show you this over time. And here's the vorticity showing as it translates eastward. And you can see we're looking, first of all, at the European. I mean, this is just an unbelievable massive system. Look at that energy slinging in. You can see the storms ripping through, and then you can see that energy dropping south. Now, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some winter precipitation that's not being analyzed by that system, especially with these back edges of the vorticity maximums that are dropping south, those little vort lobes that are dropping south. So maybe the models aren't handling this absolutely perfect. Notice too that this low out west looks interesting, and we'll get to that here in just a little bit. But that is essentially the European. Now let's look at the GFS, and then we're going to compare the two. So there's that little wave coming in tomorrow night into our Saturday morning. Saturday, it's gone. Sunday's quiet, a ridge. That's the only thing that might scour out the moisture and instability, and we'll get to that. But there's a system that's moving in, very similar strength. My goodness, is that thing strong? It's going to be absolutely intense. Then you could see it kind of lifting northward, but still vorticity lobes wrapping around the big low pressure system. And then here comes the next weather system, which, by the way, the GFS goes out longer than the European. But of course, the model accuracy starts to degrade. But what you're going to see is a lot of active weather coming our way for the early part of December. Should I say the middle of December? So we're looking at the early part of the week before Christmas. If we look at the calendar too, so December 18th, 19th, that's the week before Christmas. And you got this system that's got a lot of energy. And look at this, multiple waves of precipitation, which makes sense because we have such an active and progressive weather pattern. And you get the cold air to arrive, and we could be looking at winter weather. So now let's just go back to the severe weather potential. We're just going to bounce back and forth real quick. So here is 6 a.m. for the European, 6 a.m. for the GFS. Believe it or not, the GFS is just a little bit slower. Here is 6 p.m. and very similar. And that is exactly why the Storm Prediction Center goes, you know what? There's going to be severe weather on Tuesday. We're very confident. We're going 30% for the outlook. Now, keep in mind that can shift around. And so that's what we're kind of looking at. Now, I got to tell you this real quick. There's one thing that can throw all this off, and that's the amount of instability, because you won't be able to have a significant severe weather event if you don't have the surface-based instability. So what is going to kill the instability? It's potentially that system coming through Saturday into Sunday that tries to scour out the Gulf. And I will go through that as we take a look here at what's going on. Why do you think the models pump fake on instability in the medium range? So I think what it is, remember, instability is driven by temperatures. If the temperatures are too cool in the models, which we know they are, especially during severe weather events, and we account for that, by the way. When we are doing our forecast, the model is only going upper 50s to lower 60s for next Monday and Tuesday. Well, you know it's going to be warmer than that. The storm system that's coming in is going to have southerly winds. Our lows might not even get below 60, especially Tuesday morning. Now, it might by Tuesday night, but that's a whole nother thing. So why would the model be low on instability? Because it's too cool. It's too cool on temperatures. If it's too cool on temperatures, your partial process curve is too far to the left, which limits your instability. And we know it's too cool. The models are too cool when they need to be warm, and they're too warm when they need to be cool. That's kind of the way it works. And that's that's the job as us as the meteorologists to go over that. Let's go into some other stuff here. So first of all, the European, you can see the temperatures going downhill after this system. And it's going to be a complete pattern shift where we won't be warm anymore. We're going to have an invasion of cold air. Another thing, too, is we've got the snowpack that's going to be developing across the northern U.S. from this system next week. They're going to get crushed with winter weather. There's going to be two sides of this storm: blizzard conditions, major snow, incredible system, and then you got the significant and potentially deadly severe weather to the south. The GFS, it shows some really cold air, and it continues to keep that cold air really, honestly, all the way through the second and the third and fourth week in December. So warm, not warm enough. 49, yeah, right. Will be 49 for the amount of joules per kilogram. Well, no, that doesn't. Maybe the mixing ratio might be 49. No, it won't be that humid, but 49 is way too low. Okay. So going back to, I want to take a look at this because I want to show you this. This is a model loop. Hold on just a second. Where'd that go? Here we go. Here's a surface-based cape. So if you have too cool of temperatures, you're not going to have enough instability. And we know when the higher resolution models come out, they're going to have more instability. So look at how, first of all, you can see that moisture in the Gulf right down here, and the instability. This is the surface-based cape. But when we move along, look at what happens here. Sunday night, this ridge of high pressure tends to shove the moisture down to the south. Do I believe that? Not really. And also the models were cutting off the moisture south on Saturday. Now that's not necessarily happening anymore. So the models are too cool, and therefore your instability is too low, in my opinion. And then people write off the severe weather risk. Well, you know what? You can't do that. And then you can see the storm system moves east, and this will be way, 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 way more on Wednesday than what it shows because it's stinking at the low level temperatures. And if we look at the European model, I've got to go to the 12Z. We'll do a model loop on this. This is lapse rates. I don't want lapse rates. I want surface-based. I want to do mostly unstable cape. So here's cape. This is the mostly unstable cape. This is different than surface-based cape. But you're going to notice that it also tries to clear out that moisture on Saturday from that system. But it doesn't make it to the Gulf anymore. And it's already humid in the Gulf. And then you can see that kind of shoves down to the south. Now, why is that going south if we have return flow on Monday? That just doesn't make any sense. Look, you will have cyclogenesis with a high east of there pumping in strong southerly winds, and so that just doesn't make sense with that cutting off of the moisture. And so the models are underdoing it. We know the dynamics are going to be there, but the models, I think, personally, are underdoing it. Okay, so going back to this, then that moisture starts to return, but it's not all that great on Tuesday. And that's because when we look at surface temperatures, it's going to be probably low 60s, maybe even upper 50s. And therefore, and there you have it. Tuesday afternoon, it's showing temperatures in the low 50s. Yeah, right. Nope, wrong. There's no way that happens with that strong of a system, and then therefore you don't have any instability. This, by the way, is after the boundary comes through. So if we look at before the boundary comes through, when the shear is really good, but essentially maybe the instability isn't as great, and there you go. You have incredible shear profile. So look at that. Don't just look at one ingredient, which is the instability. Now, can that happen? Maybe. Maybe the models are correct. I don't know if I believe it. But anyways, so that's kind of some of that stuff. So let's get to some comments here. I know I'm getting a few of them. Are you reporting from my yard next week? Send the weather truck. I need hyper localized weather. Well, you might. This is going to be a widespread severe weather event. How about this? Charles Peak, I'm in Dawson Springs for the 1-year anniversary of the Kentucky tornadoes before severe weather next week. Very cool, man. And by the way, there's a Tracking Charles show The system this weekend. Yep. Taxes. That's what kills the instability. Wait, no. Taxes. Taxes kills your pocketbook. We're in the cold season. Instability return has been way off with the past two events with guidance. November 20, November 4th, November 29th. It has. November 4th stunk. In fact, people wrote off that severe weather event because of the instability lacking. Here's a real long comment. The first December severe weather event I can remember took place on December 3rd, 2015. I produced a tornado watch Moline and surrounding areas. Later at dinner time, a tornado warning was issued. So that is December 23rd, 2015. And then there was the Rowlett tornado that happened 3 days after that. And then you've got, so Mark Dries, keep in mind the NAM has a better handle on the boundary currently in North Texas. I don't believe the front on Saturday will make it to south of Central Texas. I don't either. It doesn't make sense with zonal flow. How can you have a system that's ripping through and moving northeast? Cape is very important, but you obviously need it for severe weather, but you don't need much of it to get significant severe weather this time of the year. I can tell you right now that the Utica, Illinois tornado happened with, according to what it showed, 0 Cape. The Cincinnati tornado showed very little to 0 Cape. The European was doing really well on that. But even though the model doesn't show a lot of instability, that doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to happen. Did I lose my sidekick? Well, Zach is on vacation and Josh is he's on here, but he's at home. In December of 87, we had a horrible tornado come through West Memphis, followed by Christmas flooding, then a blizzard, which is, Laura, thank you so much for that. That leads me into the next thing. What happens after that system? Well, it is going to get cold. And the Weather Prediction Center on an 8 to 14 day outlook, you ready for this? And this is all experimental, but look at this, 8 to 14 day outlook. You got a slight risk, because keep in mind this is a ways out, so a lot of uncertainty. But for the 16th through the 22nd, because that's how long the outlook goes, it only goes for 8 to 14 days. Well, 14 days from now is the 22nd, so the risk stops. And then take a look at this, a slight risk of heavy snow. Can you believe that? And that is for the 16th through the 22nd. So we don't know the timing of the system, but we know, looking at everything that it shows, this could be a significant weather pattern that brings not only severe weather potential, but what happened there? I wonder if you were able to see that. Did I minimize that? Did you guys get to see that? Was it gone? There you go. Now you get to see it. And then that purple lined area is a slight risk for heavy snow, 8 to 14 days out. Pretty impressive. If I scroll down here, you can actually see that just in an outline. So we're going to have a bunch of stuff that happens. That's a funny comment, Chris. So, in other words, I have a really poor memory in the weather. December. That's funny. The East End tornado, November 4th, happened in 250 Cape. With that incredible shear, you won't need much. And then sometimes you have the shear that overcomes the instability and it rips apart the storms. It honestly, in my opinion, is all about the critical angle. Critical angle is very favorable for storms moving in an east-northeasterly direction, which will be the path of these storms. So how about this, Brian? When does this all move out? It'll move out Tuesday night. But then there's additional stuff that happens Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with colder weather, with potential maybe for some snow flurries. So, okay, Josh has, wow, some recent memory December severe weather events. December 2021, December 10th, tornado, December 19th, December tornado outbreak. Look at this guy crushing out all these. I got another one for you. December 2nd, 1999. We're going back there. I actually chased an event in Oklahoma that brought a tornado near Perry, Oklahoma, and it was a QLCS tornado event. Juicy critical angles. I can't remember 30 minutes ago. Man, you're good. All right. Well, that's 8:30. We've gone about 30 minutes. I will not be doing a Facebook Live update tonight. There's just not a lot to look at. One thing we can look at that is the SIPS analogs. I haven't looked at the newest one. Let's see what it shows. Oh, it's still updating. So let's go to the 18Z. We'll look at the GFS. So SIPS is essentially the Cooperative Institute. It's something that basically does. It looks at severe weather potential. It's the Cooperative Institute for Precipitation Services, and what it does is it looks at past systems, and the computer can kind of look at an algorithm and see, okay, according to this weather system, and in the past, what did it bring? It brought a lot of active weather, so therefore we have that potential for severe weather. So let's show you what we're looking at here with the SIPS deterministic. So I'm going to add this to the stream, and we're going to take a look at some stuff. So first of all, let's take a look at our severe weather potential known as the CWASP. So CWASP is a parameter, and you can see that it's cranking up pretty good. Now, it's probably going to drop off because of the lack of instability, which has kind of driven all of this. But you can see it goes up to 80% though. So once again, the models are underdoing the instability, so the risk is shifting because it doesn't appear that it will make it here. Now, this is basically, making a whim of a forecast saying that the instability won't return when it very much in fact could, or the vice versa, saying that the instability will return and it doesn't, which can always happen too. So that's why all of these things need to be ironed out. Let's look and see if there's any type of SIGTOR issues that come out. So if we look at supercell, there's a supercell composite. You can see that showing up. If we look at these are just kind of some different severe weather parameters. Look at that, 1.4 right over us, and this is early. Wow, this is late Wednesday night or late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So there's a chance this system slows down even more. It happens with these big systems that maybe this will be a Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. All of this stuff can obviously change. If we look at, let's see if there's any type of derecho possibility. It doesn't look like it here. Now we can also look at, and this will be kind of hard to find pretty quickly. So what I'll do is I'll remove this. But anyways, some cool stuff that we can look at. How about storm relativisticity? Let's see what we're looking at for storm relativisticity. Remember, the shear is just outrageous with this system. And that's going to overcome a lot of those lacking instability parameters. Let's look at surface-based CAPE and see what it shows. So it's not showing a lot because the models are underdoing it, but it does nose back in. And you can kind of see how that's trying to nose back in. And this, by the way, is Tuesday afternoon, right at noon. So I still think things are going to get interesting Monday night out to our west. And for Tuesday, it's going to be for our area. So anyways, that's about everything. Let's see, slower system, worse it could be. That's right, because that allows for more moisture to return. CI could take place in the panhandles Monday night. That's symmetric instability leading to thunder snow. Absolutely. There could be thunder snow. Nope, derecho is not an automatic high risk. There's derecho. They have issued PDS severe thunderstorm watches. But Saturday will be a better day at looking at all of this. So Saturday, we went through that at the beginning. You can watch the replay, but rain is happening Saturday morning. It's going to be widespread too, so be ready for that. There's not going to be many 65-degree days around here for this year. Nope. It's going to be very much feeling like cold Christmas weather. So, yeah, by the way, the 8 to 14-day outlook, I want to see this. You haven't seen this. Look at that. Colder than normal. That's a good across a good portion of the country. And that only goes out to the 22nd. So we're going to get crushed with a bunch of stuff. But anyways, we will talk to you guys later. That about covers it. And yeah, we'll let you know tomorrow more as the models kind of come into agreement. And at that point, we're going to start getting some of the 84-hour out models for Monday on Friday. And so we'll be able to know a little bit more. I got to go get something to eat real quick. And then we'll be back on at 9 and 10. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Josh, he's got you covered in the morning as he's going to bed probably right about now. So thanks for watching. I hope this, let me know. Do you guys appreciate these Facebook Lives? It's taken up, a little of my time, but I love telling you about the weather. I love explaining it. And, just I love kind of giving you what I know up here and explaining it a little bit better, not just going off of forecast, kind of going off of what things can happen. So, oh, thank you, Scott. Appreciate it, man. Awesome, Cameron. Appreciate it. All right, we'll catch you guys later. Take care. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Thick fog tomorrow morning. Be ready for that. Fog advisory goes until about 7 o'clock in the morning. See ya. Bye.